Hello!
Hello!
Finished watering our garden. Had a big reveal of who our very favorite villager.
Yeah, I was mulling that over, and I'm still kind of shocked by it. I love it though, because it's like it wasn't just oh, this person because X, and it's like there's a legit reason there.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
I will give a shout out to there's a piece of fan work, a story like fan fiction, called Truer Than I think somebody linked it to me, and it's like a romance story between the player and Benjamin, who is not a romance candidate in the game, but it's like so well written. I was like captivated reading through it. It's like it captures the vibe of like Sugar Blossom Village just so well, like all the other characters, like that's what it was focused on, was like Benjamin and on packing his story and his character. But there was a lot to it, just kind of living in Sugar Blossom. It was so cool. So I would recommend that story for sure. Yeah, I think today, actually, I maybe started going the wrong way. Gotta buy some dog food. That is the very first thing.
Hungry pup on your hands.
That was totally my fault. I don't usually do that. That's like priority number one.
Dogs usually don't like it if you don't feed them.
I have found that. No, I haven't.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know. Yeah.
I would assume. I've heard that. I've never experimented with it myself.
Oh, that's good.
Where's Brennan? Hey, Brennan.
Watching Lockball.
Yeah, maybe we'll jump on the Lockball Square today. I don't know if I've got quite enough energy at the moment. But, hey, Bryn, would you like some?
Give her some stuff.
Garden strawberries. I did grow these strawberries in my own garden. Are you impressed? We'll come back for you, Haley. I'll take you on.
Stay put. Oh, Alexander.
Yeah, this is, I mean, honestly, one of the best things. At least you can play this game however you want to, but it's I think one of the best things to do early on is just kind of walk around the village, talk to everybody like once a day. Yeah. If you get the little chime, that means you've gained a bit of friendship points with them, and spoilers, that'll help you out later in various ways to have these deep relationships, to build them early on. Let's go 10.
Yeah, that'll get you.
Last us a little while. Yeah. There's some stuff in here I definitely want.
Oh, man. See, this is my problem. Is like if I have any money at all, I always want to spend it on like cool looking stuff.
Definitely. This
paintings,
this
the stereo.
System,
yeah, like I mean, because then the music disc, and it's just like, okay, here's all the practical stuff I should be buying, and here's all the stuff I actually want to buy.
Well, what is if you were going to pick one thing to be like saving up money for, because that's what we've kind of been focusing on, is making money these last couple days. What would your first big purchase be?
Probably a cow, to be honest.
That's a responsible answer for sure.
Well, it's kind of like I always view it as like it's not only investing like to make more money later on, but it's also like here's a new element of the game that until you purchase an animal that you really hadn't had before. So it's like it's kind of like it's unlocking a new piece of the game, something else to manage and keep track of, and it's put your energy into, but also something that'll pay off.
That's a good way to look at it. It's like when you get the fishing rod, it's like it's just kind of a new mechanic that you can play around with. So yeah. Just popping into the
cloudy curtains.
I have a hard time with that myself. Definitely want to spend money on things that don't necessarily need right away.
I think also what I tend to do is like I would always spend my money and then like the home shopping and be like, can't afford it. Can't afford it.
Made that mistake the first
that's
Saturday
right, the blender. That's right.
So this upcoming Saturday, we gotta make sure we've got enough
Save
set aside.
a little bit.
Yeah. Can't quite remember what the item is, but I know it's something good. If we can count on it being something good. Yeah.
What's up, Annabelle?
Hey, Annabelle. Is it weird to... I have a hard time, because I think you said you romanced Annabelle when you played through the game.
Yeah.
Is it weird to then play a second time and not romance Annabelle? Because
I've
had a hard time in some games where I have like one main canon playthrough, and then I struggle to be different, you know.
100% for me, and my best example is like the Mass Effect trilogy.
Yes.
It's like,
I was gonna bring up Mass Effect.
It was like, for me it was Liara, and then I couldn't do anyone else because it was.
You feel like you're betraying Liara in a way. Yeah.
She my bae.
Yeah, I know people who will play a game, you know, that gives you all kinds of options and pick something different every time, and they want to see everything the game has to offer. Like Elder Scrolls games, you know, there's so much there, but like once I put time into one playthrough, it's like that's my playthrough, that's my character. I have such a hard time starting.
But that's what YouTube Let's Plays are great for.
Exactly.
Seeing other versions without having to compromise your integrity.
Yeah, hopefully everybody out there who didn't romance Bryn will find this playthrough interesting for that reason. We are buying seeds. I don't know what I'm doing. Buying the actual produce. I need some seeds. Let's buy a little more wheat. And I can't remember what was in that other spot.
So you definitely have potatoes.
Potatoes growing.
Because they're the longer term.
Yeah.
It's more strawberries.
Yeah, more strawberries are good.
Bryn likes those?
Bryn likes strawberries.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't like strawberries, though?
My mom does not like strawberries.
Really?
Yeah, and everybody has always commented on how weird that is. Yeah, it's like one of the foods that you would just think everybody.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hey,
delicious.
I mean, that's fine, I guess. I'm at a loss for words because I'm like, it just seems like something like that's a given. Like, oh yeah, bring strawberries. Everybody likes that.
You would think out of like any food, I can't think of a food, you know, that you would assume to be more universally liked. Like I don't know if there's something you can count on everybody liking.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, that's a tough one. That is a real tough one. Some like sweets are pretty much universally liked, but you know, like
probably true. Yeah. Probably true.
Oh, it's better.
Just doing a little praying to the harvest spirits today.
Spring cleaning. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oof.
Just started some yard work outside today for the first time.
Yeah, well,
it's like just getting nice out.
We had like mid-60s today, something like that. It was the peak sunshine. I was sitting there and I was like, man, beautiful day.
It is beautiful and you want to appreciate it, but it also brings all kinds of work. It's like, I gotta start mowing my lawn again. I gotta start weeding the garden again.
All the things that need to be done.
Yes. But it's a good thing. Would never complain about nice weather. I'm gonna run to the. We already chatted with you today. Run to the hot springs.
Hot springs. Get some of that energy back.
That will help. You can see our friend the cat today. Maybe run back to
our friend the cat.
Our friend the cat. Run back to the woods. Maybe collect a few more things. Yeah. Maybe could do some part-time work if.
Yeah, you definitely got a little bit of time for that.
Yeah. I think certainly just kind of stocking up and figuring out the big purchases we want to be working towards.
So, in your opinion, if you had to make like a judgment as to what maybe the poorest decision of a first purchase would be, what would you say? Because I mean, with this much freedom, there's bound to be some maybe not quite as
there's not
good choices to make.
There's not really necessary. Like I don't want to say there's a wrong answer, you know, because there's
no
not,
wrong answer.
You can play it, and the game technically can continue forever, right? You can keep playing year after year to accomplish the things you didn't quite finish the first time around. Probably the cosmetic stuff.
Yeah.
Probably the sorts of
the practical answer.
Drapery and the carpets and all the stuff you don't necessarily need for your home right away, and things that aren't gonna be making you more money. You know, like you were saying with the cow, that will kind of pay for itself eventually.
Yeah. That's an acceptable answer, I suppose.
I guess if you're really bad at lockball, you could like lose a bunch of lockball matches. You could bet on the raffle, the weekly raffle. Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna run back to my house, plant what we purchased, and then see if we can do some
Bo's bowl.
Oh right, yes, absolutely. And then maybe the
plant, grow a beautiful doggy chow flower for us, please.
That'd be awesome. If you could just plant some dog food and then more dog food would grow.
Oh man,
like a dog food tree.
That would be amazing. Oh man. So I was kind of wondering. So I mean, I know we've talked a lot about like just like development of World's Dawn. I mean, obviously, it's celebrating the work that you've done, but like from like a business standpoint, like I was just kind of like curious. I was like, if I was gonna like do this, granted I don't have anywhere near as awesome as an idea, but like if I was gonna do this, like where do you even start?
Yeah.
Like, can you just like for someone who like sees this and is inspired and wants to do their own thing, like how do you get started with something like this?
Yeah, probably the answer and the advice that almost anyone would give you is the same advice I would give you, which is just you have to just start somewhere and do it. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of a lame cop-out answer because I'm not giving you an actual direction to go in, but honestly, it's more worthwhile to just go in a direction and start developing something. So, there's tons of tools to build games now. Stuff like Unity is completely free. Unreal is completely free these days to download and play around with. And yeah, honestly, even if you're not using software, even if you're using pen and paper, or you're making a board game, or you're making, card games, or you're making even just like stories and worlds to share with friends, just getting it down on paper in a way that is like it's physical, it's tangible, instead of just because like everybody's got ideas, right? Like everybody plays video games. That's not what I was trying to do. Everybody plays video games and thinks they have like 100 ideas for their own video games, right? Like from the time, like every kid you could ask, like, what's the video game you want to make? And they would all have an answer. So it's really just about being able to make that connection and put, your ideas to paper or to, the computer, like some hard copy, physical version of whatever it is. Whether that's like purely mechanics and spreadsheets and maps that you draw, characters, all this stuff, just like write it out. That would certainly be my, my number one bit of advice.
Okay.
Because, there was a time where the only way to get into the game industry was, computer science degree.
Yeah.
You kind of had to be a programmer. You kind of had to do your time with quality assurance. You had to work your way up. You had to start as a grunt at one of these like big companies. But I mean, I'm speaking to you as somebody who made a game by myself.
Yeah, you didn't do that.
Right. Yeah. I didn't do the traditional thing. And more people are able to make stuff without kind of going through those traditional avenues. So yeah, I would say just make stuff. Start building stuff and meet people, talk to people, be open to learning. I think that's a big thing. Is a lot of kind of younger or less experienced game developers, and I'm one of them, make the mistake of just like thinking because they know how to find out something, like they have all these resources available, they can do anything, and they don't have anything to learn from watching tutorials or watching talks from experienced devs. Like even if it's somebody who doesn't make the same sort of game that you do, or somebody that like makes something that you don't like, it's good to watch talks or read articles or all this stuff about games that you love, but it's almost more important to do that for games that you don't necessarily love and aren't necessarily interested in making, just so you get kind of broaden your horizons. And I guess that was sort of a long-winded.
That's exactly what I was. Ooh,
hey,
look at that. I feel like I've seen that instrument somewhere before.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Certainly can't be from my very favorite video game of all time, Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Okay.
Well, just to kind of build on what you're saying, like I think about like some of my favorite games are like indie games. Like I love like the indie game.
Yeah.
And the style of like the boundaries are just like your imagination, and like
it's interesting because like the trajectory, like the video game industry went from being one or two people who were very passionate working, back in the 70s and 80s and stuff, where it was really small teams where there wasn't much money in it, and you had to really care. You had to be like the top level nerd, you know, to like make these things because the barrier to entry was so high. And then it slowly grew and became bigger, and the industry just like blew up and was financially, you know, like all these people got into it that didn't necessarily care about games for their own merits. They cared about it as a business, and these teams of hundreds and hundreds of people and very kind of specialized tasks within huge development teams. And then the indie boom of the last, 10, 15 years kind of took over again, and we're almost seeing a renaissance, like going back to very small teams of passionate people who start with an idea and don't need much else besides that, like passion, hard work, and like following through on an idea that they have instead of formal training or, certain number of years of experience in the industry kind of thing.
Well, like even from a consumer standpoint, you can spend $20 and get 2 or 3 amazing indie games you put hundreds of hours into. Or it's like with some like AAA games these days, it's like you can get a sort of half-finished mess that will promise season pass DLC loot box, and I'm just
no comment.
Yeah.
But no, I mean the truth is like the reason people are monetizing in such shady ways a lot of times is because like games are huge and they're hard to develop like at that scale. Like AAA games are so expensive.
It's a lot of
crazy.
money. It's a lot of money.
So they have to, and they haven't really gone up in price. Like the base price of $60 hasn't really changed or even like kept up with inflation. So in order to make money, they've got to, start thinking outside the box, and a lot of times that's comes across as like screwing
businesses
over the
evolve.
Yeah,
that's how it works.
But yeah, certainly it kind of goes along with that. Like it definitely is about making money as a business for these AAA developers. But you dig a little bit deeper and you find, millions of indie developers who are just simply passionate about making games. They would do it even if they weren't making any money. And it's really amazing to see. And I think it helps break the overall industry. Like having an indie game get big and then seeing those trends followed in like the AAA space is so cool.
Oh yeah.
It's like they're driving the creative, the entire like creative
it's the balance
energy
of the industry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's certainly eras in games that are more, creatively bankrupt, I would say. Like, you know what I mean? Like it became formulaic, or it became all popular games kind of looked the same and felt the same and played the same. And then indie games come along and they're like, no, you can do it different. Like this can
here's how we're doing it.
I'm not pleasing a boardroom full of investors. I'm just like doing this because this is cool.
It's a passion project.
I have a vision for what games can be that doesn't need to fit into any box.
So I love that.
It's really amazing. Yeah.
Well, got some feedback question?
Sure.
For you? So from Twitter, MotherFlame87 says, you mentioned that you were considering adding children to the game at one point, but didn't because they weren't really useful at the time to the player. Will you think about adding them in a story beside, and will our lovely pets from World's Dawn make an appearance? This is a good question. I like this one. It is,
yeah. So, a story beside, I've said this a couple times, it's a very different game. It's in a different genre to World's Dawn. So I'm worried. I don't want people to go into it expecting, another life sim, another thing that's exactly like this. So I guess I can't comment at the moment on whether or not you'll be able to have children, or the sorts of relationships and romances that you'll be able to pursue, because they're very different than this life sim. But there will be romances, and there will be adorable pets, and like all the stuff you like in World's Dawn is going to hopefully carry over in spirit. But yeah, I guess specifics I probably won't get into.
Makes sense.
Quite yet.
The mechanics of everything, like
so it's like a little different. It wouldn't be a one-to-one thing like children. I wasn't able to do children in this game, so I carry them over to the next game. It's not really one-to-one like that. It's more of like kind of a brand new idea of what I want to do.
I do like how it was mentioned children being useful because, I think you did say it like
did I use that
too,
word?
like
Okay,
children
yeah.
being useful.
I meant more of
Is
like...
this child going to be useful to me?
Like,
we're talking about money-making projects, the child being useful.
Man, you would have to wait a long time for that child to be financially a good idea. Let's go ahead and end the episode there before we head into the Silver Stallion Dash, our first official festival.
Yeah, I was going to say, here we go.
So let's take a look at the featured fan art of the day.
It's the one reason I will sit and whole episode is so I can get to see this fan art. Ooh.
Yeah, so this one...
Oh, the mask. I love it.
It's so good because,
so good.
that outfit is, like, straight out of the game. Like, every piece of it, you can tell they, like, had a specific thing they like to wear. And you don't... That's a Sage Glop on the ground, and you don't really get fan art of Sage Glop.
Yeah, I know, right? Often. Getting some representation.
Yeah. So Bayleaf K on Twitter said they drew this back when they first played through the game a while ago, and said that running into the Sage Glop was definitely one of their favorite things in the game. So they wanted to represent that with this lovely piece of fan art.
I like how like the facial features are very mysterious and vague. With the mask, it's
that's a really cool looking
really
character.
personified. Well, I love it. I love
awesome.
it. Great, awesome.
Yes, thank you for sharing, and thank you all for watching. We will be back soon with more of the World's Dawn developer Let's Play. Bye.
Bye.